Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's watch party for In Search of Tomorrow for the classic Star Trek V, The Final Frontier. As always, I'm Andrew. I'm one of the hosts, and my amazing co-host Dom is here today, and you're going to suffer, Dom.
Yep, yes, I am. I am going to suffer today. You reminded me so much of this movie, so much that my brain has tried to forget over the years.
Well, I can see we're joined by some of our amazing community members over on YouTube. For a start, we've got James Hellier, Neil Armstrong, possibly not the Neil Armstrong, but still a cool name. Cindy Settles, Immortal Rimus is over there. And then I can see over on Discord, we have got Lizardman888, Sharon, Calbot, Mad Matt. Let's go through. Jedi Wizard, Brainwire, Sparky John, Eric, Doug P, Bikies, and there we go. So, everybody, today's sync point will just be as the Paramount logo fades in. The movies are all pretty much the same on the releases. So, while everyone gets themselves ready, Dom, how old were you when this came out? This was 1989. Were you born? You weren't born, were you?
I wasn't born, no.
No. Wow.
I've only known a world where this movie exists.
Show my age, this was the second Star Trek movie I saw theatrically upon its release. Yeah, I saw The Voyage Home first. This was my first, which I saw in a Canon cinema, strangely enough, which is a decent Star Trek film. But this film has
Voyage Home.
Everyone likes Voyage Home.
Yeah,
it's the vanilla ice cream of the Star Trek movies. Everyone likes it. And now there was
pistachio ice cream.
No. My wife and I we were looking because, as you know, we're going back on holiday. There's a new ice cream place opening near where we're going, and she said, "What flavors ice cream do they do?" And one of them was like strawberry and balsamic vinegar and blue cheese kind of flavor. It's all these really weird flavors, and I'd say it's that. It's a very niche flavor of a Star Trek film.
The artisanal ice cream flavor.
Yeah, I mean, as well, this film did come out in 1989, so it had some strong competition. I mean, it came out against Indiana Jones and The Last Crusade. It came out against Ghostbusters 2. It came out in the same year as Batman. And Batman was a juggernaut in 89. I mean, yeah. Plus, it's a bit of a Shatner vanity project, but hey, we'll get into all the chaos and fun behind this film as we go through it. So, on the count of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, press play. Now, one of the absolute highlights of this film is the score by Jerry Goldsmith.
The score is incredible.
Yes, but Jerry Goldsmith is he's just an A standard all the time.
Exactly. So even his worst scores are great.
Yes. James Hellier says, The Undiscovered Country was the first he saw at the cinema. Final Frontier was the first he saw on rental VHS. And here we go. Now we're seeing Nimbus 3 in the neutral zone.
Definitely not a California desert.
But again, though, they're not saying which neutral zone this is in.
Are we going to get nitty-gritty Trek fanboyism here? And
well, we might get a bit of it. No, but there are different neutral zones. There was in the story at the time. There was a Klingon neutral zone and a Romulan neutral zone because they kind of had a Cold War on two fronts with the Federation. I'm assuming that this planet is possibly maybe intersecting with both. Maybe it's where three sectors, because we see there's a Romulan ambassador on the planet, there is a Klingon ambassador, and a human ambassador. And we see the man riding the slowest horse in the world.
Very strong Mad Max vibes right now. Not just the desert area, but the gum and tape kind of stick weapons together.
Mad Matt says, do we ever find out what he's digging for? Is he looking for space gophers from ice pirates? Doug P says the tri-neutral zone sector. That's probably where I'd go with it. Why is he? I don't know what. I'm confused. So he's got a twisty thing, and I'm assuming he's looking for moisture or something in the desert, because that's inevitably what desert planets people are looking for. But why are they smoking like he's been shooting them? I'd agree, James. It's not a very nice planet. Immortal Rumor says, I saw 2, but saw Star Trek 5 on VHS before seeing Star Trek 6 at the cinema back in 91, which is the first one we ever saw at the cinema. That's fantastic. That doesn't look a very comfortable robe to be wearing. That material. It's like potato cloth.
Yeah, that's going to scratch your skin like crazy.
Right. Immortal Rumor says, good old moisture farming.
Hmm.
And we're seeing here the introduction, anyway, of the character Cybok, who was based on a TV evangelist, which probably quite local to where you are in Vegas at the moment, Dom, with all the wacky local access evangelists.
Oh, it's great. We have them on every street corner.
That's right. James Helly saying Lawrence Luckinbill as the homeless man's Sean Connery. Well, that's the thing. Let's go through this anyway. So the character is called Cybok, and the planet he wishes to go to is called Shakari, and it's named for Sean Connery. And Sean Connery, they originally asked him if he would do the role of Cybok, but it was 2 reasons. A, they couldn't afford his fee, and also he was busy with Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade at the time.
God, Indiana Jones took quite a lot from this film, didn't they?
It did. No.
Now we have to maintain positivity here.
No, it's the fact he's saying that all men have sought for all time. Knowledge. No, not really. No. 2 weeks and 2 weeks in the sun, some nice cold beer sounds good to me.
Yeah.
Lizard Man says all men have sought ultimate knowledge, the secret 12 herbs and spices of KFC.
Such knowledge is forbidden. Yes. Only the great KFC sages are allowed to know that.
Is he laughing in that just end of an 80s cartoon episode way? But we are hearing the incredible score by Jerry Goldsmith, which is, of course, the also used for Star Trek: The Next Generation, which has been on the air about 2 years when this came out.
Oh, it's making me nostalgic.
To watch Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Yeah, what's so we just watch The Next Generation, a few episodes there.
It is a great score. Exactly, Jedi Wizard says, and Doug P says that Goldsmith score, though, and Jedi Wizard says it's on point and a great listen separately from the film. Doug P says, well, this was around the time, the second season of Next Generation. True. Okay, let's ask our community now. What was more disappointing? Season 2 of TNG or Star Trek 5?
Well, I'm biased because I'm blinded by nostalgia. I'm going to say Star Trek 5 was more disappointing for me. Yosemite National Park is beautiful.
Yeah. Oh, they're talking about what are the worst Star Trek films. Lizardman says Insurrection's pretty awful in his opinion. I mean, one of the problems I have with Insurrection is it's like just a middling 2-part episode.
Yeah.
But now you see, this is the problem I have with this film throughout. And it's from the get-go here. We're introduced to Captain Kirk, who's
space adventurer
climbing a mountain. But being the sort of the director and the lead writer, and this being his movie, which we'll discuss in a second as to why. It's the typical Captain Kirk thing of putting himself front and center of everything, which is why this film could be described as two things. Either Star Trek V, Shatner's ego trip, or Star Trek V, the contractual obligation, as that's what this was. So William Shatner and Leonard Nimoy had basically identical contracts for the movies, and they had put into their contracts what's called a favored nations clause, or favored most favored nations clause, which is whereby any benefit or perk one had, the other would equally receive it without having to negotiate it. And
because Nimoy has already directed two.
Nimoy had directed and written, 3 and 4, because of course he did a big chunk of writing for 4. Shatner said, basically at the wrap party of 4, I want to make one. Yeah, Bill, I wish you'd choked on a vol au vent that night. But, as we now see the result of, well, to be fair, Shatner did, as you say, have the odds stacked against him somewhat, because budgetary, unions, I mean, there's a very interesting thing, because he did one of the absolute worst things ever, making this movie, because there was a strike going on. He used non-unionized workers. And let me say this to the Americans in the chat. He went against the wrath of the Teamsters Union.
Fool. Never go against the Teamsters. You're going to lose.
Yeah.
I think almost every slip up that could have happened in filmmaking did for this.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, there's so many problems that happened. And like we've already discussed, Industrial Light and Magic couldn't do the effects for this.
That's right.
Indiana Jones.
And Ghostbusters, yeah.
And Ghostbusters.
Well, Ghostbusters too, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it did have a lot stacked against it. In fact, in the filming, some very strange stuff happened. One of the vans that they were using non-union drivers to move, when they were leaving the car park, well, just before they left the car park, the van exploded. And also when they were filming certain outdoor scenes, there were helicopters flying overhead to ruin shots.
What a shame. Yeah.
Yeah. Jeff C says, so we can blame the Teamsters for Star Trek V. No.
They tried to stop it. They're the secret heroes of
Yeah, they tried to save us.
Beautiful landscapes. But this is such an odd opening for a Star Trek film.
It is.
What are you gonna do, Bones? Like, what can you possibly do if he's falling, let's
But I don't understand. What I don't understand is that you would imagine that when you're doing that kind of thing with the technology they have of the era, and again, this is maybe very nerdy, but they would have emergency transporter communicators that would recognize someone was falling.
Yeah.
This is on Earth. This is the center of the Federation. Technology is at its highest here. Everything is perfect on Earth in the Star Trek world, as we will get into later.
And yet you can still fall from tripping on a hill in Yosemite.
Yeah.
Hey guys, let's make our space bar as close to Star Trek without copyright
breaking copyright laws, yeah. And that is literally a game of pool. The balls are floating in water.
Yep.
Yeah, Mad Matt says, I want a pool table.
Oh.
And now we've got a Catwoman. Yeah.
Oh, God.
James Hellier saying, "What wouldn't that defeat the point? Climbing without risk." Yeah, I think there's still an element of risk about it, but I would still have the safety. Want the safety stuff there.
I do love old Klingon designs, though.
Yeah,
it's always nice to see.
That is cool. So as we're going through this now, we're seeing. I don't even really. It's a really weird long game he's playing.
Yeah. All right, let's get some fun in the chat. Favorite Star Trek race? Let's
go. Nimbus 3 is so bad in this, even the Denny's closed, apparently. That's right. Well, that's right, because David Warner did return several times. He was in Star Trek 6 and in Star Trek The Next Generation. Icy Matty, welcome. He says, Nimbus 3 is near the Romulan border. Is it near the Klingon border at all as well? I just wonder why there's a Klingon representative there, because this is at the time when the Klingons and the Federation were not at peace.
Mm.
And so we need a load of generic extras in robes running into a city they could have freely walked into.
Seeing the sign above that says Paradise, it looks so much like an English theme park called Alton Towers.
Yes.
It's just having flashbacks to Alton Towers now.
So the bar has a command center in it, or is it a bar / ambassadorial residence? This is what I'm really confused about.
Finally in space.
Yep. Now we see the space dock. We see the space dock, but this shot looked so good, as this was an ILM shot that was reused.
Yeah.
So this shot is reused.
How many times has the Enterprise exploded?
Yeah, different times. I don't understand, though, that... So we can see it's in the space dock at the moment, which makes some of the stuff I'm going to say even worse in a moment. I find it really strange that there's this implied relationship between Scotty and Uhura after like 30 years of working together. Jeff C, no, that space dock scene was reused in TNG. It's not reused from TNG. It's originally from Wrath of Khan and Search for Spock.
And which cabin design do you prefer, Andrew? Do you prefer the original series, kind of more nautical design, or the Next Generation's sleeker design of the...
I prefer the Next Gen era.
Yeah. I always wanted to wait. I think there is something in Vegas, which I should do if it is still here.
No, it's gone. It's gone. The Star Trek experience in Vegas is gone. It had a Deep Space Nine bar.
Oh God, what is the bar in Deep Space Nine called again?
Quarks.
Oh,
Again,
yeah.
this I don't understand. They have to go to the prearranged pickup for a shuttle to collect them because the transporters aren't working. If only they were on a Federation planet that had all the Federation's technology and facilities there, and the Enterprise happened to be in a space dock with facilities to transport people.
If only.
You know, if only the Enterprise was in the best possible place where functions are not working on the ship, they could just use an alternative transporter.
Yeah, one of the thousands of other ships that are docked there, perhaps.
This is Earth Dock. Yeah, main space dock. This is Earth Dock. Exactly right, Matty. That place is dripping in technology aside from the planetary transporters. Any other transporters on other ships around? Right. I'm going to mention something in a minute to our chat. Something that don't say anything yet, Dom. Something that we mentioned with David on the call, on our internal call this week.
The thing about this ancient bean recipe,
yeah,
I always thought like beans are beans, right? Yeah. Until I came to the States and realized that the Americans do not know really the beans on toast, the amazing nutritious value that is beans on toast.
Sharon says I'm getting too technical for this low-tech movie. Ian Birchall says Star Trek V is hard to love, but it's way better than Generations. Great live chat.
Where'd they get all this plaid from?
I don't know. Clothing dispenser or something.
Oh yeah, they can just generate clothing.
So in a minute, we're going to hear something, and I will explain. Which is a strange thing that script editors need to be very careful about. Oh, now this is interesting because this is actually foreshadowing Star Trek Generations. If you, I knew I wouldn't die because the two of you were with me. And by alone, he died with Captain Picard. He didn't die with Spock or Bones there. So kind of foreshadowing in Generations, to be fair.
He got it half right. He gets points for most of the correct answer. But yes, this movie did have 3 writers. And normally, that's not a good sign.
No.
It's so hard to keep
a
vision up. There it is.
Right. So we'll talk about that in just a second. Now you're going to hear Spock say, he calls it a marshmelon because in an earlier draft of the script, McCoy edited the Enterprise's computers to change them to be called marshmallows to make Spock look stupid. Now, that device he has that dispenses marshmallows or marshmallows, our director, David Weiner, actually has one. There we go, and Sparky John's posted a picture of it. They are the most ridiculous product ever made. David has one, and it's great if you want to carry 3 jet-puffed marshmallows around and dispense them to your friends. Let's be honest, I'd rather just have a bag of marshmallows myself rather than a dispenser. Jedi Wizard wants one. It's Jedi Wizard. They are dreadful. There's a video on YouTube from a guy called Junkball Media who reviews it. If you have a look at it, he shows how bad it is. It is appalling, this device.
One of the main problems I have with this movie is that, and I know fully well why Shatner wanted to have this constant like throwback to his personal like childhood, and throwing it into this like as Kirk says, I haven't sang around a campfire since I was a boy. In universe, the likelihood is so minimal that he would be doing all these things, but William Shatner himself probably did.
Sharon's saying, who wouldn't want a dispenser for 3 marshmallows? You never know when your friend asks if you have one. Yeah, but Sharon, you could carry a bag of marshmallows around and it would like probably 500. Be lighter. Also, something I'm going to say about these Star Trek films, watching them with a modern head on, McCoy would be up for disciplinary as to how he speaks to Spock. For the language he uses towards him. It's horrendous. Victimization based on race.
Every scene, more or less.
Yeah. Every time he speaks to him, it's basically bullying him and racial abuse he throws at Spock. But it's actually acceptable.
Where are the bears? They're supposed to be attacking people in Yosemite Park.
Now, which Voyager spacecraft is that of the several that are? I mean, obviously it's not the Voyager craft, but that was a prime example of the bad effects in this film. That was actually a miniature, but it looks almost like a cartoon animation. It's been shot so badly.
Yeah. And I get that the Klingons are incredibly popular, but again, Klingons again. We just had a Klingon movie.
Yeah. But this is the first time we hear the proper full version of the extended Goldsmith Klingon theme, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
But that is horrendous, the effects. But then when we go back to cut to the shot of Space Dock, which is beautifully done by ILM.
The makeup is always great, though. It
is. The Klingon makeup is absolutely brilliant. Apart from, I have questions about his hair, though.
All the cool Klingons have hair like that.
It could be just because it's in high definition. Now, this is a bit. This is another bit I don't understand. I really don't understand the nature and importance of the mission. If time is of the essence, why even send a shuttle to find them?
Beam them up.
Well, no, transport Uhura down to say, Captain. Oh, if transporter is not operational, if only Earth Dock happened to have transporters. Yeah.
Perhaps this is the reason he's been bumped down from Admiral.
No, he was bumped down from Admiral for stealing the ship and nearly causing intergalactic war. So, no, there you go. So, now, why is the Enterprise now parked outside Earth Dock? The reason for that is because they couldn't redo the Earth Dock effects. But it doesn't, again, make sense why the Enterprise is now just randomly parked in front of the moon.
it could have been saved by just cutting the first use of it out.
Yeah. But this is one of the, yeah. But the Enterprise looks huge in front of the moon there for some reason. It looks absolutely enormous. And the shuttle bay looks tiny.
Yep, I could fit 2 shuttles in there. Barely.
Lizard Man says, how could you say that about the literary genius behind Tech War?
So, as I'm working on FPS, Tech War is a constant thorn in my side because they did make an FPS game about Tech War, and it's so broken. It's horrible. I need to find VHSs of the show because I never saw it.
Pretty terrible.
Oh.
I don't get. Now, the only thing I would say about this, the Enterprise being so fundamentally broken in this film, would be one of the semi-theories about what the Enterprise A is. The Enterprise A is believed by some to be the USS Yorktown, which is the ship that we see in Star Trek IV, whereby the captain says we are trying to deploy a solar sail to keep us alive. So it's assumed that they all died, so possibly they were cannibalizing the ship to try to keep themselves alive, and that would maybe account for why the Enterprise is so fundamentally broken.
Yes.
Because the previous crew had wrecked it.
Or it could be that Shatner desperately wanted to prove that old school human ingenuity is superior to technology and made it a vital component of this whole film. Go climb a rock.
Yep. That's Harve Bennett. That's right, Doug P. Jeff, that was Shatner's daughter as well. Well, that's fine. That's fine. You get one of the fully functional ships and have Kirk captain that while the Enterprise is being fixed. You are at Earth Dock. There are the bulk of the Federation ships would be in vicinity of this. Exactly, Jedi Wizard. So can't use another ship. Yeah, a functional ship. Yeah.
If only there was one.
Yeah, shut up, McCoy. You're going on a mission. You don't go, oh, I don't think we should do this mission, Captain. We might have a problem. So is he expecting
passive aggressive, like
is he expecting Kirk to go back to the Admiral and say, yeah, we're not going to do it. The Doctor thinks there's going to be some Klingons on the mission. Just can't risk it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Calbot says Kirk is the only competent captain available in the fleet. Starfleet needs to work on their recruiting.
Yeah. See, that was a fairly decent shot of the miniature, but it was so close up you couldn't see any of the problems around it.
But it's just, it's just crazy though. I don't know. I just find the stretches this film requires you to make could have been written so much better. Why not have the Enterprise undergoing tests in another sector and it's got problems, and it's the closest ship, but it's got problems because it's in a shakedown cruise with problems. Don't put it at the center of where all the technology. And why would the mobile devices just not be working?
This is one of the problems with having 3 or multiple writers. When you have someone saying this is how the story goes from A to B to C, writer number 2 comes in and tidies up one segment, which then breaks something later on, and it's not a cohesive story. Little things like you and I mentioning, little fixes here and there would have tightened it up so much.
Yes, it's like if my computer breaks, my phone doesn't break because my computer breaks. Well, why would his tablet thing break? No sense.
Because in this future, everything is so integrated that when one bit of code breaks here, it ruins everything.
Oh, they're going to do an enhance. There you go.
Why is she moving around so much?
We will be treated well. They are forcing us to watch Star Trek V.
Inhumane. I swear that's against the Geneva Convention.
Yeah, exactly. James Hellier says, the Enterprise have the same problems in the motion picture. Refit, shakedown crew, only ship in range. Which I don't understand because they're at Starfleet headquarters. I know him.
Nimoy always just
Nimoy was
things.
Always brilliant.
Yeah. Can we just put Spock in charge again?
Yeah. Well, don't forget, the ship is grossly overstaffed by the command structure. So you've got 3 captains who you got Kirk, Spock, and Scotty all hold the rank of captain, and then basically all the rest of the crew hold the rank of commander.
Oh God.
Yeah, Jeff C says the missing sibling that no one has mentioned before. Yeah, it's Spock does seem to have a lot of these random siblings pop up between this and Michael Burnham from Discovery.
Oh God, Spock's dad clearly was just.
Well, he adopted Michael, didn't he?
Yes.
So Sharon says, here's a story to entertain. My father, many years ago, started training with the first civilian spaceflight with Richard Branson. A lot of what Dad did was hush-hush, but he did say that Shatner was involved with the training as well. Years later, my dad had to drop out for health reasons, but apparently Shatner stayed. When I heard Shatner went into space a couple of months ago, I smiled. Wow. James is saying, isn't Bones a captain too? No, he's a commander who becomes an admiral in the time of Next Generation.
One of the greatest takeaways from Shatner going into space actually was how he reacted. He was awestruck. Everyone else around him, like Jeff Bezos, didn't seem to really care, but Shatner was a changed person. His experience was so mind-blowing, and it must be. If I get a chance.
I will be fair, though, that I was a little worried when someone said, we're going to send the 90-odd-year-old William Shatner into space. What could go wrong?
Yeah. I'm glad he made it back okay.
And that's a redirect. Wait, he's the chief
engineer on the ship.
Well, we saw the other engineers at the beginning. They're all sat with their feet up on the consoles.
Yeah, exactly. And the chief engineer is there doing everything, like multitasking with a giant spanner or whatever he had at the beginning.
Well, the ship, I will say, the ship is rather understaffed because you can assume that the people who aren't wearing the proper uniforms, the ones who've got sort of the white bits on their top halves, they are either cadets, which I doubt, they don't look like cadet uniforms. They would be unlisted personnel. They'd be non-commissioned officers. So they'd only be sort of
They're scabs,
petty,
is what you're saying.
no, the chief petty officers and stuff. Oh, God, it's coming up, isn't it? Oh, God. Oh, hell.
It is,
I
unfortunately.
mean, that shot looks terrible of the base. That's right. Doug says that's the uniform for enlisted personnel. No. The problem is, guys, most of the effects in this were miniatures, but they shot them so badly that they ended up looking like animation for the most part.
Well, they went behind schedule very frequently, didn't they? Because of so many different factors.
Yeah.
But if you have to rush something so intricate as miniature shooting, it messes everything up. It breaks the illusion.
It does.
Look at Superman 4. It's not miniature, but still the effects when they get shoddily applied.
Now, the question is, if he says Captain Chekhov here, has he actually changed his insignia over in this scene? I don't know, because I find it harder to read the insignia of this era compared to sort of the Next Generation, which is quite easy to read.
Yeah, just the dots.
Yeah, the pips.
Oh no, it's happening.
I was going to say, yep, they're saying it's Commander's insignia he's wearing.
I'm not liking the William Shatner ASMR there.
Oh, hell.
Help us, everyone. This scene is...
This is awful. Right. This is what happens when you have the family over at Thanksgiving or Christmas and Auntie Jean has had too much sherry and decides to do a dance.
Song comes on.
Yeah, the song comes on and Auntie Jean has had too much sherry at a family holiday. And everyone's saying, please just sit down, Jean. Just sit down. And she's doing a dance and everyone just eats their own fist. Questions I have are, Uhura didn't appear to be on the shuttle. So did they send another shuttle down with Uhura saying, Uhura, we need you to take all your clothes off and bring some like palm fans and do a dance for us? Like, Jean, it's Christmas. It's Christmas. Please stop scaring the children. Please. What's going through the troops' minds? The guy's going up to her. If I saw that, I'd actually run. I'd run in fear.
Go through the writers' minds. Well, let's face it, it's probably Shatner. The other writers probably tried to take it out. No, it's a vital scene.
We need a pensioner dancing with dancing with some plastic palm leaves. Lizardman says, the real issue here is what the hell do these guys think would work? Assuming all these guys are straight, why would they put her at risk dancing for a bunch of quite potentially dangerous thugs who might want to do worse things than oogle her? I don't have a clue. Immortal Rumor says, those dudes must have not seen a woman in years. It's just,
look, in the bar, there's cat women like dancing around all the time.
That's right, Doug. Nicole's actually recorded a song for the scene, then it was dubbed over in post-production. You didn't find out until later. I also... Okay, first off, why did Chekhov jump when there was an explosion on the planet like the Enterprise had been shot? And they have effectively sent the bulk of the command crew down to the planet for this mission. So we've got the captain, we've got the first officer there, I think the doctor's there, the chief medical officer, and we also got Sulu, who at this point, Sulu would have probably been second officer.
Yeah. And a naked Uhura.
And a naked Uhura.
Even the phaser effects look like rushed.
Yeah. Oh, and he's going to neck pinch a horse. Yeah, but the guy's just stood there watching him do that. And then the guy like goes, oh, I'm sorry, if the guy was attacking my horse, I'd be kicking him or trying to stop him. Not just sat there going, I've knocked the horse out. Now the horse is down.
How'd you get dressed so quick?
I don't know. Jeff C says, the iconic Kirk open palm punch.
Ah, yes.
Icy Matty's saying, can they just set stun to spread? I don't know. And it is a shame, Doug, that they didn't use the actual Nichelle Nichols singing there, because she is an accomplished singer, as you say. Is that a James Brown scream we can hear going over and over?
I think it is.
And it was a pool table, and Kat's obviously she's
immediately
got
fall unconscious.
Yes, and drown.
Die.
Yeah. And Kirk also had inhumanly strength there, didn't he? He literally picked a full-grown, Catwoman up and threw her horizontally across the room.
Everyone knows that cats are 90% liquid anyway. They are a liquid. So surely they should have just melded, if not grown stronger, in the pool table.
Lizard Man says, stuff that in your memory, Rumble Teaser. Even some of the makeup effects. This bald guy.
Yeah, I was about to say.
That's terrible.
And there's no need for it. Like, why have him look like Skeletor from the Universe movie?
There's another guy further back who looks just like Skeletor. Just in the background. I don't understand why they would not just make them human. Why, if your film's financially constrained, why waste? And yeah, if it's financially constrained and you are against the clock, why, when you could just have people looking relatively human, or just put a cloth over their face?
Hypothetically, this isn't fact. This is a Dom, perhaps.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe William Shatner, because we know he was very good to the cast and crew, that apart from the Teamsters, but he was very good to the cast, especially. He was a good actors director, probably because he was an actor himself. Potentially, he offered the same kindness to the special effects team, and he was overly proud of everything they made, even if they were subpar. Like a dad hanging his kids' painting on the fridge
when it's crap.
When it's crap, like that butt-headed dude behind Cyborg there.
Doug P saying, I'd have to imagine a lot of these prosthetics they'd already had. Quite possibly they do, but just because you've got them in the storeroom doesn't mean you need to get them out.
True. That could be another alternative. They had a warehouse filled with these prosthetics that didn't really fit the actors they had, and they just went, let's put it on, it's fine.
I would say some of the prosthetics we're seeing in these scenes here, and this is no disrespect, they are Roger Corman level. Is that guy the Red Skull to the left?
I think he is. Yeah, I was just thinking that.
On the long shot, the guy stood by Cyborg. It's the Red Skull, honestly. Not that guy. Not that guy we just saw there. Just see him again.
Yeah, not Butthead.
Not Butthead. So there's also, there's one shuttle, right? It's going to transport the whole army to the Enterprise.
Oh God, that shot.
That is horrible, isn't it? They said that one of the problems they had, that the company doing the animation for the CGI, they didn't have the creativity of ILM for the kind of making the ships move creatively across the screen. There's even a problem between the continuity of the starfield effects.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the things I find most jarring about this film is the continuity where shots have been reused by ILM, because the ILM shots, that looks awful. That looks so boring.
Amateur. It's a still, isn't it, as well? It's not got any animation to it whatsoever. It's a low quality still that's just been superimposed on the screen.
So we can see 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 4 people there.
Mm-hmm.
And then one, 2, 3. Okay, it's maybe 4. There's maybe 8 people in that shuttle in total. So I'm assuming everyone else. Hang on, this is really bad. This is really bad, right? So there's maybe there's maybe 10 or 12 people. There's a few people sat on a bench there. But Uhura's there as well. All right, I thought put everyone in Uhura's shuttle. I wasn't sure if she was in a separate shuttle. And they just put all the ravenous men in a shuttle with Uhura on the way, because that would be appropriate. But I don't understand how they've got so many followers in the shuttle.
The ingenuity of man always trumps technology.
Icy Matty, we are just up to the scene where they are about to take the shuttle into the Enterprise while the Klingons are stalking them.
Yeah, almost, 50 minutes in?
About 50 minutes, we're just coming up to. Oh, God. Yeah, Doug P. Like we're supposed to believe Sulu hasn't flown on manual. Exactly. I mean, he's a commander who in the next film becomes a captain. He's a very experienced pilot.
I'm surprised they didn't make a "can you drive stick" joke.
Yeah. I do
like the Warbird design.
The Warbird design is fantastic, but this looks terrible.
Oh God. Oh, yeah, it looks horrifying. It looks like an early 90s video game.
It just looks terrible.
Oh.
I see what they were trying to do and create some tension there, but it just didn't.
No, it's just... Again, I think I can see the writing room, and I can see Shatner saying, no, you don't get it. The ingenuity of man outwits technology. We don't need to have a better ship. We need to be better up here. And I think that's what Star Trek Enterprise, the series, tried to do a lot as well. Because I remember Enterprise having a lot of scenes where they were just overwhelmed by superior technology. And they got out of it by, luck most of the time.
Oh, this is... Sharon says, I propose a drinking game for the remainder of the movie. Any continuity gaffes, bad lame special effects, take a drink, we'll all be drunk by the end. And any really bad dialogue will take you 2 drinks. Yeah, I don't think that's good. Jeff C says, I think they made this stick driving joke in 4. Maybe they thought it was too soon for another.
Oh, maybe.
Maybe. All right. So the Enterprise has got a really small shuttle bay. or the shot. Wait, oh God, I could have saw Kirk's wires as he's being carried around on the gun. I've never noticed that before.
It could be worse. He could be like a little marionette, like a lifeless body.
If only the Enterprise had officers who hadn't been corrupted by Cybok on it yet, who might have been, say, a security team who could have come down to the shuttle bay to intercept the people when they were coming off the shuttle.
If only. Just poke his neck, he'll be fine.
Lizard Man says, shoot him in the leg, Spock. Jeez. This shuttle bay that they use, from memory when I looked a long time ago, this is actually the set that they used for the Federation kind of court room in Star Trek 4. That's a good point, Calbot. Or just lock off the shuttle bay so they can't enter the ship, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jedi Wizard says, what? Yeah,
There's a lot
Lizardman
of that,
says,
unfortunately.
Lizardman says, you forget one important thing. Everyone is stupid but Kirk.
He's always a few steps ahead of people. He's
Immortal
playing
Rumor
4D
says,
chess.
you forget that Vulcans are far stronger than humans. I can't remember if there's ever been a fight on Trek between a Vulcan and a Klingon. I think there might have been. Yes, Scotty can only but look. Hang on. So they march Kirk and everyone to the brig. And the bridge crew are like, yeah, they're just doing stuff downstairs. You know, Chekhov, worst step-in commander ever.
No, wait. Didn't Wesley Crusher step in as captain?
No, he's never. No, he's never been captain. Wesley never. Wait, he was a mission commander at one point. I think he did better than Chekhov in this.
He didn't just let everyone walk in anyway.
Now, come on in, guys, with your crappy rock guns and. And a sister we'll talk about in 30 years.
Is that a toilet?
Yeah. Lizardman says, my garage is bigger than this current dock. Yeah, exactly. Doug says the toilet even says do not use while in space dock. I guess that's a joke, harking back to trains where the matter just flushes and drops out into space.
So the Futurama stinky like meteor that's going to crash into Earth in the year 3000 probably exists because of starships and their excretions. How? If only I could have seen anything that was happening on the ship.
Yep. This is your own fault, Chekhov, because you didn't care what was going on downstairs.
Just a bit of a ruckus.
Racial slurs.
My God, yes. I was about to say.
That's a lot of followers now on the ship.
Yeah. I do like his hockey gear that he's wearing, his protective chest piece.
And we can see these are now Star Trek, The Next Generation corridors redressed.
Yep. It's only for a couple of shots as well. Like,
Sick bay is another set that's a redress.
I've just realized how hideously lazy this brig is as well. It's got those glowing tubes.
Oh, so you go down to the shuttle bay now, mate, do you? There's a few sets, Jeff, that were reused from TNG.
Yeah, they may as well. They're being filmed concurrently, weren't they?
Hmm. Oh, God. You can't. Right, so they're going to the...
I've never mentioned him in my entire life.
Yeah. So they're going to through the galactic barrier to a place that is so incredibly dangerous. As we're about to see, it's got all the danger of going somewhere for a pub lunch on an unfamiliar road.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, we're there.
It's painfully easy. It's so painfully easy. Why hasn't it been reached before?
Yeah. If only the Federation was some, in the Star Trek universe, there was some kind of exploratory organization like Starfleet.
If only there was a mission, perhaps a 5-year mission, for a spaceship to go out where no man has gone before.
Yes.
Oh, we've got a special guest with us. Oh, Bones has come to assist.
Catch you later. I see Matthew's having some tech problems. Oh, gosh. So this, again, I don't understand. Why, in the plot of it, no one's guarding them. Why would Scotty not just go in and release the force field and let them out?
Now, this looks like a Roger Corman set.
It's not the best set. It's supposed to be a Jeffrey's tube, I think. Jeff says, cute dog.
Yes,
subjecting him to
Bones.
his... Sharon says, because, Andrew, just because. Okay, now, let's have a bit of fun, everybody. Count the flaws, because we'll go past at least one of them more than once. No, they're not as claustrophobic as the tubes on Next Generation or on Voyager, for example.
Walked so hard into a cylindrical piece of wall
that he could see coming.
That he made his head bleed. Oh, so we've seen 8 now. There's deck 12.
There's deck 12. Okay.
Oh my God, is the set shaking when they're walking up? I think it is.
Okay, so Calbot says the Enterprise A has 23 docks numbered from the top to bottom. Okay. See how many decks there are.
Uh-huh.
And here we go. Yeah, that's how we're all feeling at the moment, Bones. Deck 35, deck 52, deck 64.
72,
deck 52.
78.
We passed deck
78 again.
Yep. You just passed deck 52 twice. We've gone to deck 78.
Did they even watch the film?
Exactly. Edward the Black Prince. Welcome, Edward. I didn't see you joined us today. Edward's saying, seriously, did no one screen test this?
Yeah.
Jedi Wizard says it's like the fizzy drink lifting scene. Yeah, but less realistic.
He's incredibly sweaty for someone that got flown up.
James Hellier says, I think you're all mean-spirited and should go watch Extra.
Be a pleasure. That had 3 screenwriters as well. Can we at least agree, Andrew, that Extra had a coherent path? Very little continuity errors, if any.
Yeah. So Immortal Rumor says, Spock deep down enjoys his rocket boots. I mean, I'd love to have a pair of rocket boots.
Yeah, who wouldn't?
So my understanding is this is actually the 10 forward set revisited. Not revisited, redressed even.
Looks like it.
Yeah, with the big doors.
Ah, Bones, you're back.
Round. Why does it's got a lantern? It's a nautical themed room.
Yeah, I was about to say, hang on, I've got a lantern like that, just like right next to it.
But why has the Enterprise got a nautical? I know it's supposed to be I don't know anymore.
The ingenuity of man trumps any technology. Oh, here's my nautical lantern.
Well, there you go. You need to send a message to Starfleet. You can go in the room where you keep your lantern.
Exactly. It lights up and everything. There we go. Can send some signals to Starfleet.
Why are the stars going horizontally? Is that room on the side of the ship or at the front? You would think if it's got the wheel and it's supposed to be there, it'd be at the front of the ship. Idea of going forwards, but the stars were going that way. James Helly says, I need my pain. Yeah, we're all getting that. If the bridge breaks down, they can steer the ship from that room. That's right. Yep, that's right, Doug. That's the Next Generation sickbay, and they haven't even bothered to replace the plate for the LCAR's Next Generation interface behind them. Really, effort was low.
Yeah, and that's the main concern. Even the lighting in this scene, like it's bad. Like, come on, why is it so dark in here? I understand mood lighting, and there's only the one sky lantern that they have.
I wish it had. I think that's probably quite right, Calbot. That joke is probably the truth. They lit it so darkly, so hopefully the audience wouldn't notice it's just another redress set from the next generation, which I think is probably
very good point.
That is a terrible photo painting of a city behind him.
Yeah.
Everything's just done like, I don't know.
Half-assedly?
Yeah. Like it's but it's the problem with the effects in it. It's the nuances, and that's what ILM bring to it. As we saw with the spaceship effects, the Enterprise was in space, but there were no blinking lights on it. Look at that cityscape. That is just a picture of New York or something, but there's no blinking lights. There's no movement. There's no life to it.
Yeah. I'm just realizing how edgy this script is as well. Like it feels like a teenager in a writing class in high school came up with a lot of this, like thinking that like highbrow kind of stuff. Like, what if we took the Enterprise to go see God?
Yeah.
It's almost like one of those ideas that, you know, always comes up because it's an obvious idea, and then it gets scrapped because it's a bad idea. And then,
I mean, this seems reasonable, but what I'd like to have seen is, rather than this, I would have liked to have seen him completely transformed into the full lit room with his father's death, rather than his father just appearing in the room they're in.
Yeah.
And I also would have liked it that it appears they can see what he's seeing.
Yeah, so it's a group hallucination.
Yeah.
Which asks the question, why is there a group hallucination going on? And how can you argue this isn't brainwashing when you're putting
exactly
this?
Immortal Rumor says it's brainwashing is what Cybok is doing. No different from what Professor X and Martian Manhunter could do. No, exactly. Yeah, James Haley saying going to see God is the most Gene Roddenberry plot imaginable. Well, he was against it quite strongly because it was a Western depiction of God they were going to use, and he didn't really agree with that. But equally, Gene Roddenberry at the time, he was obsessed with, other than going to see Space Abraham Lincoln. Well, don't forget, Gene Roddenberry was obsessed for every Trek movie to feature Spock killing JFK.
Yeah. Genie. So theatrical right now.
It is. Yeah.
It does a bit of disservice to the characters if something as simple as like a very quick therapy session would have cured Bones of his interior pain.
The problem is as well that these interior pains that we're seeing amongst the crew, they're nothing relatable that we've seen in the past. That, like, so Spock is, I mean, so Bones euthanized his father, turns out. That's a fairly big thing. And this is supposed to be Spock witnessing his own birth and his father's disappointment at his son.
Why does everyone have daddy issues?
I don't know, but it's more that I'd have liked to have seen there be something they could have called on from the series or further back that would have made this work better. It's a bit like that thing that's been eating you up for years that we've never mentioned until now, we're going to make better.
And it's such a shame that it took this turn, because Star Trek 2, 3, 4, they flow together so nicely as this weird trilogy in between other Star Trek movies. And they all are better because they are related to each other. This movie, you could throw it in arguably any point in the Star Trek timeline, and it would be just as meaningless.
Yeah.
Because it's not related to any other part of the greater Trek universe. Like you said, it would have been so much better if they focused on aspects we're familiar with. Like,
well, one of the things with Kirk originally was that we were going to do. There was a Kirk scene that they removed where he was going to deal with his pain, which was around him being an absent father and the death of his son in Star Trek 3. That would have been good.
Yes.
You know, I'd like to have seen there be something that, you know, Spock being eaten up by the grief he caused McCoy from forcing his mind into him, or something like that. Just some kind of a not an imaginary pain they just made up for the purpose of the script.
Yeah. And again, that is, I need my pain. That is so evident when you have multiple writers. Oh, we need to think of a reason why these guys get turned, and we need to have this pain that they can overcome. Throw in daddy issues. In this dark room.
Yeah, Jeff says, I want to see a scene with Kirk's pain about his son. And Immortal is saying, Spock being half Vulcan, you expect him to put a resistance against telepathic and psychic attacks from Vulcans and other aliens. The scene with David's death, James Hellier says, the scene with David's death and Kirk's fall in search of Spock is one of the most powerful and natural, powerful moments in the franchise. It really is.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, Edward. This movie is like a lost episode or something. It really has no overall impact to the lore, and the characters of the series you forget about until it's seen again. It's the trap that some of the later episodes of The Next Generation fell in, films of The Next Generation fell into, whereby it's not cinematic enough.
Yeah. It feels like a lost episode.
It feels very small.
And when you're going to see God, how do you make that small? It's almost impressive.
They found a way.
Oh no. They're so unanimated as well. The really static shots of the Enterprise floating through space. Like you said, no blinking lights. Just...
They say no ship can survive this. So in all the couple hundred years the Federation has been in existence, no ship has ever attempted to fly through there.
No. I mean, look at it. Why would you?
But you're all right. Look, there's no blinking anything on the Enterprise. There's no exterior, like the lights are just on.
I'm convinced there are so many scenes in this room because Shatner liked the big wheel.
Yes, he needed a big wheel to act against.
Why aren't they on the deck at this point? I get it's symbolic of following Sarbuck, but come on.
No, I think it's actually probably Shatner's ego, because someone else was sat in the captain's chair. If he can't be sat in the captain's chair, he's got to be by the captain's wheel.
Good point. We're breaking this film down. We're picking apart the we're answering the questions that need to be answered.
There we go. Again, Jeff C says, well, James Hellier says the film makes it feel small by running out of money. And Jeff C says, yet this ship that was half repaired 30 minutes ago gets through the galactic barrier with no issues. Exactly. Lizard Man. That was remarkably easy.
Well,
why were we worried
Ingenuity.
about going through the barrier again? Yeah, there's not even a we need to magically reinforce the shields to do this. Oh God, it's tearing the ship apart. Ooh, we're through. Not that. It's like it just goes a bit bumpy for a minute.
Bit of turbulence.
Yeah.
Everything's fine. Wait, they went offline? I missed that.
Well, they didn't even say they went offline, did they? There's no one declaring any level of distress to the
They
ship.
had to cut that scene for budgetary reasons.
The vending machine has run out of coffee. You know, not
It's
even
almost
that.
like a Red Dwarf skit.
It isn't.
Lion
Edward the
bar
Black
at
Prince
the,
is saying,
chocolate
I feel,
milkshake.
Edward the Black Prince says, I feel like we've torn this film apart more than Mac and Me. Quite possibly we have, but this
That's
film...
only because I wasn't there for the Mac and Me. If I was there, I
No, I completely agree. And that's my problem with this film. And it's a real shame. I mean, Sharon says the time travel in Voyage Home had more suspense and realism than this. Sharon says docking in Space Dock was harder than this. Yeah, listen, man, I feel so underwhelmed, and yet we're supposed to be boldly going and everything. Doug P says, it does seem the major factor is that the center of the galaxy is about 27,000 light years from Earth, rather than there being a seemingly impassable bad special effects barrier.
Yeah. Another big problem with this film, the cast, the crew that we have grown to love over the years is just there for a ride.
Yeah.
They're
Well,
not doing anything really. They're just following this guy.
James Helly says over on YouTube, in fairness, Cybok described it as an illusionary barrier, like the sound barrier. But why, though, would, in the Star Trek universe, this barrier, with a scientific exploration organization that's been there for a couple hundred years, like Starfleet, not have sent probes and actually tried to send a manned ship through, or one of the other races?
I think they said they did send probes, but nothing ever returned.
Yeah, but then you can just nip through. It's just, yeah.
Perhaps it is because the majority of the crew believed. If they had certain members of the crew that didn't believe, I mean, Kirk doesn't, and
so now there's
died.
There's a great edit here someone could do. Spock saying, I'm no longer in control, and then they dock with the ship at the end of Explorers when the same thing happens to the kids. We will fly the slowest shuttle ever.
They didn't even color correct the ship. Oh.
It lands
so
and it doesn't
lazy.
even rattle inside at all. That's the
No.
other thing as well. There's not even a little jolt when it lands.
All right, I won't bring my piece.
Lizardman says, if the ending to this film turned out to be God was the aliens from Explorers, that'd be hilarious. Edward, you've nailed it. You've absolutely nailed it. True Star Trek holds more weight, which is why it hurts more watching this. I agree with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Immortal Rumus, you're saying the Great Barrier might have been an ancient prison that only future starships can get to. That's fine. But we're talking about there's other starships from this organization that, or many other races in this galaxy that would have tried. Sharon's saying Sharon has nailed it, absolutely nailed it. The characters are walking through this movie to tell the story with no feeling. What we all love about Star Trek is the story the characters tell and are a part of. They're supposed to come bring us along for the ride and invested in the outcome, but that's all missing here.
Yeah. It was, what, 50 minutes into the film where we knew what Sabok's plot was?
Yeah. And it's like, yeah, I just want to live to go on this planet. All right.
Wait, and the Federation hasn't been in touch with Enterprise to see how the rescue...
And that's a redress of the Next Generation transporter room.
It is barely even a redress, if at all. Change in lighting.
Yeah, and that's the other problem, Doug. I think they've literally traveled to the same shooting location they had for Nimbus 3 at the start of the film, pretty much.
Yeah. The best they could do for an alien planet was Utah.
What are they all looking at now? Are they just staring at the view of the planet?
I think so. I'm seeing Bill behind the camera just panning through.
And no one notices, and the ship doesn't alert them that there's a...
It's on silent mode, okay? They turn their phone on silent so they can
bask in... on do not disturb.
Yeah. So they can bask in the sun of Utah.
But again, and this is one of the problems I have with it, the score is wonderful. I want to see something grand.
Yes.
Not
a couple of bushes in the desert.
Not 4 old men walking across the desert.
It's not even like beautiful sand dunes or anything. It's just common garden variety desert.
Yeah.
The only other lazier way they could have filmed this is what they did in the Yosemite scene, just filming in the woods. The woods and the desert are 2 of the laziest locations you could ever film. Also the cheapest. Didn't you see the
Hang on,
sign?
what's it echoing off? Hang on. If it's a desert and it's relatively flat, what's his voice echoing off?
That's how echoes work. As long as it's cavernous, it just bounces back at you off the Great Barrier that's around the planet. I hate
that look on Spock's face. It's like, yeah, I'm sorry, we're eking this out now.
The color, the hue that they've used to color correct this is sickly. Is it because they're filming day for night here?
I think
so. Is that why?
I think they very much are.
Because this is just, this.
I don't know if anyone also noticed in the long shot there, you could actually see vehicle tracks. I mean, the ending of the film is where there were massive cost implications on the DVD. There is deleted scenes about these rock demons that originally he wanted 10, then he was going to have 6, and then he was going to have 1, and then it stopped working. They filmed footage with this like rock monster that stopped working. So they had to come up with something else instead. Yep. Lizard Man saying, if we shake the camera enough, maybe we can make this look tense. Yeah, Sharon, good point. The camera's shaking, but they don't seem to have any trouble walking.
It was done in post, wasn't it? They just decided, let's
There's a lot of this was, yeah. A lot of this was tried to be fixed in post.
To all the filmmakers out there, if someone tells you, we can fix it in post.
Well, nowadays you can, but you can fix a lot in post nowadays with CGI. Back then, with this budget, no. Not to the extent they can now.
But like what Sharon said, everyone was perfectly fine, even though the world was quaking.
Yes.
Not the kind of thing you can fix in post.
No, that isn't.
This is a relatively cool shot. I enjoy this shot. This looks interesting and alien and fun, especially compared to the desert we just walked across. Superimposing is terrible, though.
Yeah. Now, the actor we're seeing playing God here is a guy called George Murdoch. He appeared in Star Trek: The Next Generation as an admiral who famously basically failed leading the Federation against the Borg. But also, he is from another classic sci-fi franchise. Who can tell me the name of the character in the series?
I'm wondering why the Cowardly Lion from The Wizard of Oz was one of the potential god candidate faces.
No, it's not Superman's dad, Sharon.
I've been playing too much Elden Ring recently. I'm preparing for a boss name and a giant health bar to come up at the bottom of the screen.
Emperor Star Wars? No. Yeah, but Lizardman, I agree with, but that's someone trying to retrospectively fix the film with expanded media, which is there was a book released that claimed that this was some sort of evil creature imprisoned by the Q continuum. That's fine, but it doesn't help this. Sean's saying he's the Cowardly Lion. He was Admiral Hanson, but who else was George Murdoch? Yep, the quotable line. But bearing in mind, this is very similar to the episode Skin of Evil, which was notoriously from the first season of Star Trek: The Next Generation, where Tasha Yar was killed, and someone was imprisoned on a planet by Dr. Salick. No, that's Doc Cottle, John. Dr. Salick was the cyberneticist. Doc Cottle was the actual medical doctor in Battlestar Galactica. That's what George Murdoch played. Yeah. So this is incredibly similar to the first season episode of Skin of Evil, where there was a being with godlike powers.
Yeah. He claimed he was the devil or evil incarnate, right?
Yeah, who
was a lonely boy that got left on a planet and...
Yeah, and he was made of printer ink, apparently.
Yeah.
But it's incredibly similar to this, where he wanted to be freed from the planet. Wanted a starship to lift him off the planet.
And they said no and ran away.
Yeah. So it's very similar.
How did he grow so much then? Look! It's a pissed off thing living in a prison.
Yeah. John was right. It was Doc Salick. I'm just getting Cottle from the rebooted series. I thought the Constitution class, Neil Whaley, welcome Neil, on YouTube says, I thought the Constitution class was supposed to be the toughest in the fleet, but one shot from Bird of Prey and it's like, oh no, we're helpless. Who else is watching this who actually has no idea really what's going on with the end of this film now? It's just...
I'm glad I'm not the only one. Did you also euthanize your father?
Edward the Black Prince says, seen it 3 times and this film still makes no sense. Brainwire says it's the first time watching this. I'm interested to see what you think, Brainwire. Doug P, that's right. Apparently the smoke effects on the uniforms was literally one of the producers blowing smoke from cigarettes on them.
And James it's one Hellier of the best effects in the movie.
Yeah, James Hellier says, I enjoy a lot of the character work here, despite the film's flaws. It's, yeah.
if it was done to service the characters better, I'd agree. But knowing, especially that they like the main three here, as much as we do, it feels hollow to have, like I said, to have Bones' character arcs be completely revolving around the fact that he euthanized his dad and hasn't said anything at all in the years we've been with him.
I don't get this at all. It's like they all seem to have very little effect on the outcome of the film.
Yeah, that's the problem. We are used to the Enterprise crew being the heroes, or at least very important to the story. Remove them from this film. Would it change anything?
Not massively.
Maybe this alien would have escaped because someone isn't as
Brainwire says who's watching this film for the first time, it's interesting to say the least, but has no idea what's going on.
Why can't you now get Kirk?
Yeah. Oh. Well, why would Scotty have even left the control panel there to walk over? Oh, hi, Mr. Spock. Yeah, we're just going to go get some lunch. Yeah. Oh, the captain. Oh, hang on. Well, Doug's saying they did use the names of the TOS shuttles on their two available ones, the Galileo and the Copernicus. But if you look, they've got higher numbers than that. So you're saying both the shuttlecraft are now wrecked. I'm assuming they've got other ones in bits somewhere in there, because like one's 4 probably. And one's 5. The problem I have with this Klingon bad guy is he's so generic.
Yeah, incredibly generic.
He is Mr. Shout threats at people and not much else.
Also, why has he chased the Enterprise all this way?
Yeah, because Kirk, he wants the trophy of killing Kirk. Edward the Black Prince says, really, what's the point in all these Klingons? You forget all about them.
Yeah.
Oh, that Enterprise. Look, there's nothing move. It's so static.
It is just a screenshot. It's totally static.
The ILM work, you have like lights blinking on it and it's doing things and stuff.
Thank God we saw that really important scene of Kirk climbing a rock at the beginning of this film.
And these effects look terrible. Yeah. The energy bolts aren't even, they're not even setting off any kind of effect for like charring for the energy bolts on the rock next to him or anything.
Is he going to fist fight a
It does look like he's planning to fist fight a Klingon ship, yes. Or he was doing yay. Yep.
Oh.
Again, I understand what we're about to see from a command perspective, but did the Enterprise have no functional weapons from space?
Apparently not.
That's right. A shot to the brain took out God. Oh, Carl Redbird says, these guys are nitpickers trying to find reasons to hate on a great movie. I'm not, Carl. I'm really not. I love Star Trek. I'm a big Star Trek fan, but it's just so clunky. And if you consider what came before and what comes after, even with the original movies, it's just so, yeah.
It's sloppy, which is the main problem.
It's worse than it's got any right to be.
Yeah.
But again, the score, wonderful score. I can't fault the score. But also, we're actually seeing something as well here. The Klingon ship, obviously, since transporters broken on the Enterprise, had to use its transporters to beam the Enterprise crew, the people from the Enterprise, over to the Klingon ship. So, if we go to the start of the film, they could have used other transporters if the Enterprise transporters were broken.
You can call it nitpicking, but in a franchise that is so tidy normally, these standout moments make you question, why didn't they do that? Maybe it's a testament. Maybe it is a testament to the other movies, how good they are, the series, how good they are, that we don't have the same issues.
Yes.
Even Star Trek 1, the motion picture, it's a different kind of film. It's definitely a film of its time, and it's definitely far more boring than the other movies.
Well, this is definitely the 10 forward set repurposed. I wouldn't be surprised if you can see some of the iconic. Oh, and now the men off the planet, the slave people off the planet, are now waiters on the Enterprise, apparently. So Neil Whaley says, what's the point of having a communications officer if anyone can broadcast from the lounge transmitter? That's true. Hang on. Why is this planet now in front of them when it showed them flying away from the planet?
Maybe it's a screensaver. Maybe they saved it.
What, out the window?
Yeah.
And then Immortal says, I'll take this Trek film over those awful lens flare flicks, though they were very different.
They are very different.
This man says continuity died an hour ago.
This is another issue. If you're going to have a theme that's so central to the story as like family, why ignore so like they're shoehorning in reasons for family to be a big theme, like with McCoy's dad. It's so forced.
It's pretty terrible.
Perhaps I would love to see the original script.
Well,
and I'm also curious to know how 10 giant rock monsters would have...
Just to be very, 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 very nerdy, just for a second, McCoy's saying, you said people like us don't have family. McCoy has a daughter named Joanna McCoy, introduced between the first and second series of the original season.
People like us don't have family, Jim. Even this superimposed shot looks terrible.
It's, yeah. At least we're in the good music. There we go.
Yes.
Well, everybody, we have completed. We've got through it. We have done Star Trek V, The Final Frontier. That was rough. I've got to admit, I think that's possibly one of the roughest watches we've had. I will say,
it was definitely one of the least positive watch parties we've had.
I think it really was. I was struggling to find joy in a lot of it. It just felt like a lot of people were just turning up for the paycheck. Sharon, yeah, we had many laughs. That's true. And that's what's great about this community, watching these films with all you guys. And just, we have a lot of fun, even if we can find the joy in these films where they aren't fantastic. But going back to our community, we've got Carl Redbird saying, in Next Generation movies, they're in the desert. It's an alien world. become the Habernaunch. I'm not quite sure what you said there, Carl. You might want to just retype what you said. But Neil Whaley says, in many minds, the crew saved the whales, had their new ship, warped away, and lived happily ever after. Yes. Jeff C says, I mean, the big part of Spock's story is his parents. And Immortal Promise, exactly. You cannot beat Goldsmith's Star Trek theme. Edward the Black Prince wants to know, why did I pick this? Because it had to be done. Why do you climb a mountain? Because it's there. Jedi Wizard says, at least this film was better with this audience. Lizard Man wants to know if anyone wants a marshmallow. Well, I've got my 3 marshmallow dispenser. Lizard Man enjoyed himself. Calbot enjoyed it. Dopey says, oh, we missed out on the uncredited performers of Cybox Army like Apeface, Bonehead, Dark Eyes, Leatherface, Longface, Lost Soul, and Round Eyes. And Lizard Man says, I need to watch Ant-Man later to wash this taste of mediocre out my mouth. Well, Dom, go on, Dom, give us your thoughts.
I forgot more of that movie than I remembered, including the really famous bits like the fan dance. Before we showed it today, you reminded me of that, and it hit me like a tank. It's so surreal of a movie. It's difficult to love. Really difficult to love. But the good thing about it is that it proves how good the other Star Trek movies are.
Yeah, exactly. It's a blip in the road for. I mean, I think personally, number 3 is largely underrated.
Oh, definitely.
Number 1, yeah, it's very ambitious for what it tries to do, but it's a bit in love with itself. But there we go. So next week we are going to be watching Superman 3. Leave everyone process that. The computery Superman film, which will be a lot of fun. I don't think it's as terrible. Some people are saying it's terrible. I don't think it is as terrible. It's got a lot of fun in it. And
it's better than 4.
It's better than 4. Yes, it's better than 4. Don't worry, guys. Yeah, Calbot wants to know. Sharon, we did, but it was audio only, so we want to redo it as a video watch party, and I'm going to see if I can. I'll tell you what, guys, how about if I see if I can get our friend Dr. Andrew Armstrong to join myself and Dom as well? I'll ask him this week. I can't promise anything, but it's a computery movie. Let's get our resident supercomputer guy in, because magic stuff happens with him, as you know. Yeah, it'll be Superman 3. Yeah,
we aren't rebranding to a Rift Tracks or a Mystery
we
Science
certainly are. We have
got
got some really good stuff coming up, but Superman 3 I think is a bit underrated, actually. I don't think it's anywhere near as terrible as people say it is.
It has very good moments in Superman 3.
It really does. But it'll be better than Star Trek 5 anyway.
Yes.
You know, it's got some positive bits. It doesn't look
that bad anymore, does it?
Yeah. Doug P saying, looking forward to when Star Trek 6 comes down the pipe. Well, keep watching it. So, anyone? Right. Jeff C says, is Superman 3 the Office Space rip-off? Oh, the one Office Space ripped off? Yes. Because I was going to say it's made before Office Space. But anyway, it's been fantastic with everyone. Had a great time today.
We survived.
We survived this film. So everybody stay safe, look after each other, be kind, and we will see you all in 7 days for Superman 3. It doesn't have a tagline, that one, so just Superman 3. So everybody, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.